We're going live. Oh, shoot, we're live. Okay. So apologies about this. My other live stream link didn't work, it's always brilliant. So I'm just quickly tweeting out the live stream. Okay, that's not it. Quickly tweeting out the live stream info. Hey, Shadow Critus, what's up? Sorry, Shadow Critius. How you doing, man? Apologies that the wrong link went up. Josh T, what's up, dude? I'm very excited for this live stream, but the technology kind of eludes me, right? Like YouTube does this thing. It's like, set up a live stream, schedule it, make a pretty ass thumbnail. I go, okay. Then I click on it back end and it's like, guess what? You can't access your own live stream. And I'm like, Daniel Rivera, is it? I want to say Riviera, but it's Rivera. How you doing, brother? Always good to see friends that I've made through making videos. I think that's one of my favorite things is that it starts, just responding to comments, shared passion, and then suddenly I'm actually friends with you, DMing about bull. Oh, I nearly swore. I'll get demonetized. It's been a minute, so I can say bullshit. You're at the airport at work right now, dude, waiting on a plane to come in and got to do an engine change on it. That's cool. That's awesome. In Australia, we got a company called Qantas, which is like your American Airlines if you're American. And they're finding cracks in the planes at the moment. It's just a side note, but that's like the one thing you don't want in a plane is cracks. Riv Era, there we go. I'm glad that that you're here too, Shadow. So this is just a quick video live stream update with you guys, just talking about anything that you want to talk about, especially lore-based, where the channel's going, and just, I don't know, celebrating it. It's meant to be a relaxed, cool, more personal live stream. I really like doing this kind of stuff because a lot of what I do is manicured, except on my other channel, which is Real Dash, where I just play things and talk off the top of my head. And it's harder to just have a conversation about this stuff, because I feel like you can't just off the cuff talk about lore or role-playing games because it requires a shit ton of research, like an absolute arse ton of it. So right now, I just saw the Diablo 4 trailer drop. I just wrote the script. I literally wrote the script in the last 20 minutes, just talking about Lilith, because I've always been obsessed with Diablo lore. I suck at ARPGs. Like I suck at Diablo, but that dark lore that 3 kind of didn't have, but 1 and 2, like number 1 was my childhood, So yeah, I just saw that and I was like, shit, they're actually, because I thought that they might go backwards with the story and, Lilith and Inaris created Sanctuary. Long story short, she's like the mother of Nephilim or human beings. So that's really cool to see Diablo 4 go back to their roots after the huge misstep that they did with the freaking mobile game. I don't even know what that mobile game's called. In my head, it's Diablo late April Fool's joke. Josh, I know Qantas finding cracks in what you call the pickle fork. Very bad part. It's supposed to be the last of the lifeline of the plane. Jesus H and Mary, that's scary, dude. How stoked are you for Fallen Order? What color saber are you looking to use? I wasn't stoked for Fallen Order when I first saw it drop. I was just like, kind of looks Force Unleashed. Then I did the research and I realized how hardcore the combat is going to be. And I'm going to play it on Grandmaster on Real Dash, which is going to be fun. I'm very excited for that combat. I love nuanced combat after Outcast. I think you guys know that. My lightsaber, I was thinking about talking about this before. My lightsaber color goes like a mood ring. If you play KOTOR, you already know like yellow Sentinel, which is more of a detective. Green is Consular, which is more of a Force user, and blue is more of the warrior blade color, and purple just means you're gonna fuck shit up. So I use my lightsaber like a mood ring. 1 week I might be like, hey man, I'm feeling like I want to use the Force, and I feel like I'm relaxed and shit. But I just want to tear it up sometimes. I want to go blue, heavy blue, baby. Shadow Critius. My grandparents play Diablo games. Well, is that grandparents in gamer years? Because I feel like anybody over the age of 30 is a grandparent in gamer years. I don't even play that game, but I need to see some cutscenes. Yeah, that's hard, dude. Like Diablo's a feeling. Diablo's story is so gnarly. Like the 90s when they first dropped that game. I remember I was like a kid and I remember, fighting Diablo, pulling a stone out of his head that basically he could shove into anyone and that he could possess them. And then finding out that the devil stone was shoved into a little kid to corrupt a town. Like I was like, and then it's your brother. You're just like, this is the most gnarly shit I've ever seen. That was the 90s story. They didn't pull any punches because there was no advertising in gaming, and gaming was just kind of like an indie Wild West version of media. Publishers could just do anything. And so they would just like watch gnarly movies and be like, you know what? I'm going to put some Hellraiser in there, which actually this trailer does look like Hellraiser. They could just do stuff like that. Same with Star Wars games. How fucking stoked are you for Baldur's Gate 3? Dude, I love that Baldur's Gate so much. Again, the story, it's so hard to get the Tolkien level or D&D, whatever you want to say, that branching kind of world building. And if you read about Baldur's Gate 1, the devs had never worked on a game before, like in BioWare. Like most of the devs had never done that. And they created an RPG. And out of that it really flourished some of the decisions they made that were unorthodox, and I really respect that. But again, Baldur's Gate is just basically Highlander storyline with the murder god and kill your brothers, and there can only be one. But then they did number 2 with John Irenicus, and it was kind of like this weird love betrayal story. Like I really like dark stories that make you think. And I think so, Baldur's Gate 3 has a lot to live up to. I don't know how killing Mind Flayers is going to be, seeing as they've got psionic power. Like Mind Flayers, when they use Confuse and all that shit, it's not fun. It's not fun to get your party confused 24/7. You're like, don't do this to me, dude. I just want to hack at things or cast a magic missile. Stop confusing me. Like that's always the shit that you do not want when you're running around in one of those games. So I hope that they go easy on those powers. Otherwise, it's just going to be, your whole party wandering around for days, which is going to piss me off. How stoked are you for Baldur's Gate 3? I think that's more important. I kind of want to bounce ideas off you guys, but more hear your thoughts on it. Because me, I can talk about this stuff for days. I don't remember anything in my real life. It's all just this weird game laws kind of stuff that just floats around in my head, which I'm cool with. But I like to hear other people talk about what they like versus just me, because I like bouncing perspectives, and a lot of the best videos I've ever had has just been people saying in the comments or in a post or Reddit, whatever, have you thought of it this way before? And I go, there's something. You haven't played 1 and 2? Oh, Digital Vanquish, my man. You can get it on Android or like tablet. If you can't be asked to buy it on a computer and it's old and you travel, just get it on a tablet. Same as the KOTOR series. If not, I highly recommend, if you can sit through old school graphics and you really like a good story. 1 and 2 are so good. I don't know how it goes with playing games that you didn't grow up with, if they have the same impact. For most folks who play Diablo 1 and 2, Diablo 1 and 2, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, KOTOR 1 and 2, it's very special. And I don't know if it's due to the fact that it's something they did in their childhood, like Mario is my coaster. That makes me so happy to see that this art is like my childhood. I'll never not like SNES graphics. And I don't know if I played Super Mario 3 today, if I would be so enamored with it. Actually, no, Super Mario World, I would. What was your reaction when they re-released Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast on Switch? Switch was dope. I'm taking the word dope out of my vernacular because too many, I don't want to say wieners use it, but it's become too mainstream and it sounds terrible. I know that's a weird aside, but I'm starting to see people I don't like say the word dope, and I'm like, note to self, don't say that word. But Jedi Knight 2 is amazing, obviously. in the series as an entry point, even if you didn't play Dark Forces 2. Outcast is so amazing. It is perfection. It's got a great story, great force powers, great progression. Lightsaber usage is immaculate. It lends itself to a mouse and keyboard so much better. I owned it on PC and GameCube, I believe. I think it was on Xbox. I played it on that. But so I know that it's harder to kind of grasp the fundamentals, but hopefully the next generation really enjoy it. That's all I care about. I just want the introduction of the best games that the next gen gets, so that they may appreciate it, and then we may be able to move forward and them go, you know what, this is the standard, this is the status quo. Sorry, this is the lowest rung of what we expect from games, rather than the plethora of shitty games that we get these days, which people just go like, oh, this is good gaming, which really pisses me off. Am I going to play Pokemon Sword or Shield? Daniel, no. I try and keep away from Pokemon because I had Red as a kid on Game Boy, and I kind of phased out after around that, some 64, some other stuff, but all the next gen Pokemon and whatever, I started to become a curmudgeon. It was like, ooh, what the hell is that? Give me a Mankey. It looks like a shitty monkey. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, a turtle that squirts water is Squirtle. And then they started coming out with the names that were like really bizarre after like 150. And I was like, dude, I don't know if I can get behind these weird Pokemon. It seems like they're just kind of smushing as much as they physically can into this, but it's whatever. Vanquish, I can definitely agree on the part of KOTOR 1 and 2. Old graphics don't bother me, fortunately. That is fortunate, dude. And if you don't know the twist, I mean, people drop the Revan bomb so much. It's insane. I feel like KOTOR is one of those games that is highly replayable. It's a lot shorter than you think, but it's very cerebral. And I think the hype kind of helped carry it back in the day. People were like, oh my God, this is a new Star Wars world. I don't know if it would have got the time of day today as it would, because I got a theory. Maybe it's crazy, but I think that people, because you had less selection in video games, you played this shit out of a game until you appreciated every facet, even games that weren't that good. E.g., Star Wars Power Battles objectively is not the best Star Wars game. It is a horrible platformer. It has no give in the jumps, and it has horrendous camera angles to execute said jumps. You'll go in a hole 100 times and it'll piss you off. But I would have a friend that would come over and we would play it together, and it was so much fun. Now, I talk all the time about its blaster bolt deflect feature, which was so cool to have droids take shots at you and you just deflect at the right second. It was one of the best game mechanics I've ever encountered. But, has it aged well? No. Would I have given it the time of day in 2019? No, I probably would have jumped a couple of things and said, screw you, you're going back on the Steam list. So, I think that we drown in choice in 2019, which is an odd kind of problem to have, but it's a real one. So you have to kind of snap and grab people's attentions a lot faster. Are you going to do episode breakdowns of The Mandalorian? I don't plan on doing it. Star Wars and Marvel, I just want to see as a viewer. It's not that I hate Disney. I do believe in boycotting, as in don't pay. I'm in the mindset of, and that's not saying pro-pirating in Mandalorian. I'm in the mindset of, if you don't like something and you're not going to positively affect it, like, don't be negative about it, but don't give them your energy, your time, or especially marketing. So, like, am I going to go see episode 9 at the cinema? Probably not. Will I check out The Mandalorian? Probably, but I'm not going to go market it on YouTube, because I really believe that Disney kind of needs to clean house, that it needs to start again, then it needs to listen to fans, and this is the only way to do so. So I'm kind of torn. I want The Mandalorian to be hot, but I just, Disney's got too cute with the fans so many times. It's kind of like, I don't want them to succeed, but I do. It's a weird kind of place to be in. I don't know. I didn't finish KOTOR until last year. I've played it for years and was shocked at the reveal. That would be shocking. I just didn't want it to end. 100%, dude, 100%. I was like that a lot with KOTOR too. I think that number 2 kind of had me thinking so much. I didn't want it to end. I was just like, the lessons of Kreia kind of rolled around in my head, and then I just really enjoyed the dialogue options. That I've had that with a lot of games, Fallout, Skyrim, a lot of open world games. I just don't do the main quest line, start new characters and saves. I don't know about Diablo 4 though. I don't know if it'll be good. I'm not good at those Diablo games. I won't lie to you. It's just I don't know. They are pretty rough when it comes to like I don't like to grind or anything like that. I'm more enamored by story. Story in general seems to get me, and I know I say that video games are kind of this medium for the best stories I've ever experienced in my life, hands down. That's why I want to. This is why I do what I do. Why I want to be a part of this forever. I love gamers. I love the universes that are created, and I really just I don't want to say obsess, but I think that's the best word. I just think about it a lot. Josh T, Jedi power battles blocking and deflecting was superb. Correct. Absolutely. Other things were just a little bit garbage, and I think that we can all agree on that. They weren't the best. But outside of that, if I may touch on a few things, I really am enjoying this channel. It's very, 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 very difficult to create content that is meaningful and that it has utility, so that people click it and they go, I've learned something. I'm really proud of this latest Jedi Fallen Order video because I did the research, and so that's what I'm going to continue doing, as well as showcasing the best stories in video games. Like there's so much meat. Like when you see this Diablo 4 video on Lilith, ooh, just like her story, it parallels real life angels and demons. They draw inspiration, but her story, dude, it is gnarly. More Inarius, the angel that she hooked up with, he's in Mephisto, the Lord of Hatred's like circle of hell right now, with his eyelids ripped off, staring at a grotesque version of himself ripped up because beauty was a part of his pride. So Mephisto was like, oh, you exiled my daughter, I'm going to make you stare at your deformed, twisted body for eternity. I mean, only Diablo does that shit, And I'm just going to oscillate back to Digital Vanquish has said, plus in the Lego games. Yes, the Lego games had good block too. I actually played it the other day just to kind of compare Jedi power battles and Lego games, and it wasn't it wasn't as spot on, but it was good. It was good enough for me to go, you know what? They actually added a cool feature into this. I think the weight. All right, here's a real prediction from me. Maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe this is all in my head. I think that Stig Asmussen, the game director for Fallen Order, he made God of War 1 to 3, which were solid games. I didn't really play through any of them. A little bit. I mostly watched my friend play them actually back in the day. But I think that because before it was a Star Wars game, Respawn was working on their own game and had all the core pillars to make a good Star Wars game, and EA said, let's repurpose this and do it. It was Dark Soulsy. I like to think that Asmussen saw the new God of War, or maybe there was a competition. He is out of God of War, but that new God of War is one of the best melee combats, especially for a console, period. So I think he's seen that, and like he wants to up the ante with a little Star Wars flavor. If Fallen Order's lightsaber combat is on par with the axe, like if you see developer interviews on YouTube about why the axe feels so satisfying to chunk into enemies, it's because they had like a lag. So when the axe hits a body, it holds for a second, then cuts through. Just these little finesse details that developers put in that makes it go from just swinging a light bat for a lightsaber to feeling like a Jedi Knight. So I mean, I'm really excited for that. I just want more Sith. I want more dark side points, and I want more dudes with lightsaber. I don't want to kill plebs. I don't want to kill animals. If you've seen my latest Outer Worlds versus Fallout video, piss me off that I don't want to shoot animals. I'm sorry that I like to look at people as I shoot them. Only in video games. I'm a super nice guy in real life, as you can probably tell. I'm the same always. But in video games, I like to be evil. In video games, I want to best somebody that I find is my equal. And having like a caterpillar grub thing in the outer world spit venom at you, give a shit. A gecko spit venom, I don't care if it's a mantiqueen, whatever. I want people who I feel like can put up a fight that will have a story too. You know, in Fallout, if you meet a mad guy and he turns out it's a family of cannibals in freaking whatever that town is, you know, and they invite you over to dinner and you can deal with it in different scenarios. Even though you're just literally killing enemies, there's a story behind it that they feel like, you know, like you have an engagement with them directly, not just some shitty animals. And so when I saw a lot of the features in Fallen Order, and I was like, big spiders. Number one, I don't want to kill a spider ever. I don't like spiders. I'm Australian. I see big ass spiders all the time. Don't want to fight spiders or animals or bullshit in the world. I don't care. I do not care. A little bit of scenery is fine, but you know, like if that's the bulk of what you're gonna throw at me, when Jedi Outcast and Academy literally threw waves of Force adepts at you. I'd rather fight 50 plebs with lightsabers than, you know, a million freaking, I want to say Cath hounds. It just feels like filler. Dash wants to end another character's story. Thank you, Ryan. It's good to see you, brother. Immonoth. Immonoth. It sounds very chantable, dude. Imhotep. I'm thinking of freaking that movie with Brendan Fraser called The Mummy. How could you forget the word The Mummy? Hi Dash, grats on the goal. My question, on this channel, are you going to cover more KOTOR lore that sips into SWTOR? I mean, like you did with the Promised Land. Dude, I want to. I don't want to say I'm specifically view chasing, but what I realized early on is that if I could create more KOTOR lore and had more subscribers, that would get more reach. And I want the most people to experience KOTOR as possible. Ipso facto, I got to cover some more popular stuff and then kind of layer in my KOTOR lore. But, you know, like Darth Bandon, I believe, from KOTOR, his head is a part, like they have his head in a freaking jar, I think, in SWTOR on Alderaan. And so that follow-up lore I really appreciate, but it's a bitch to go get that footage, especially because KOTOR I can save game, do an evil alignment, load game, do a light side. In SWTOR, you have to exit really quick out of the conversation, or you have to run through with multiple characters. And so I went through my list of characters and I was like, shit, I don't have any mid-tier bounty hunters on Alderaan. I have to run through some planets. So yes, I would like to do KOTOR spilling onto SWTOR, but I want to get more of the viewership so that it really makes it worth it, and people will, you know, as many people will get the KOTOR lore as possible. I'm just a fiend to try and get as many people to experience great lore. And to, yeah, it takes a bitch ton of time to do that. SWTOR is not very filming friendly. So that's kind of my thoughts, my logic on why I'm holding back. But also I'm trying to get better at that style. Oxhorn created a very distinct lore play style that it's hard because you don't script things, but it's more robust, it's longer, it really gets into the nitty-gritty. You can kind of see what the developers were trying to do. And an RPG with multiple stories and outcomes, I really, really enjoy experiencing it all, having you experience it all. Because me, I think that I'm guilty of like doing one or two things over and over again. Like if there's 6 ways to complete a quest, I actually usually just go light or dark. Probably usually light to start with 2, and then I do something dark. But you miss a lot of those options, a lot of dialogue choices. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. At the end of the day, it's very satisfying. I just find that my delivery and my output needs working on. Like I just counted how many videos I've done between 1,000 and 2,000 subs, and it was like 24, which really pissed me off because I want to do 6 videos a week, or at least 5 videos a week on this channel. So I need to figure out how to stop thinking and how to up the ante on content, because you know, it's just, I want people to experience as much lore as humanly possible. If you could come home from work or whatever you're doing and just have like a 20-30 minute video to experience nearly every day, kind of like just episodes, something consistent, because that's always been my problem. God damn, that would be so cool. Like I said, like I think you could tell the passion. I just enjoy these stories so much. Micah, Jesus Christ, I thought you donated $2. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but 20, Jesus. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I am live. If you have any questions, by all means, you've donated, so you own me for X amount of time, like indentured servitude, bro. Imanoth, I see you could use footage from SWTOR streamers if you ask for permission and give them credit, but I get your point. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. See, I'm so hesitant to reach out to other people. Number one, I'm a bit of a bitch when it comes to quality with these playthroughs, but I really should. And number two, I just don't even think on that level. So thank you so much for opening that up. I think that there is a whole cascade like of SWTOR streamers who are trying to kind of, get their content out there. And I played SWTOR in 2012 whenever it dropped for a month straight, like a month. Jedi Knight, Guardian, had read the Revan book, was ready for the storyline, was not the happiest at the culmination of the conclusion of the storyline. Was less happy when they went to like Zyos, and I was like, okay, this shit is getting insane. This shit is getting crazy. Can we pump the brakes on this Emperor shit? Like, I know, they don't want Emperors to die in Star Wars, clearly with Palpy, but this is getting out of control. But if I may pivot, I don't know if you guys saw my Outer Worlds video, but I was contrasting that against Fallout, and I've got I don't know if it's too early to say that the Outer Worlds really is getting overhyped. Excuse me, because Obsidian has got so much goodwill in the community. I think that that's a huge problem. I keep seeing these game developers that are bleeding the community dry. They are microtransactions, overcharging, just goodwill is gone. You know who they are. I don't have to say it. But so I feel like that Obsidian made a solid game for probably their budget and time frame, but it's no Fallout. It's not a 9 out of 10 like they're getting. It's probably a 6 or a 7, as Daniel actually said before. It's a good game, but like it's getting so much ravenous hype. I get it'd probably be easy to make a half decent RPG and kind of slot yourself into the space at the moment, because so many developers are getting shit on. Except for Cyberpunk, which I am hyped for. I'm so looking forward to CD Projekt Red. Scares the shit out of me how hard it's going to be to film, because the branching lore, if I do one thing, it cascades again through the whole, like it echoes through the story. So that's going to be really difficult. But at the same time, I feel like CD Projekt Red, again, they did the whole no microtransactions spiel, one and done when you buy the game. And suddenly, they're the darlings of the industry. I didn't think any of this shit would happen 5 years ago. Obsidian is great with sequels. Do you know, one of the weird things that LucasArts used to suffer from, because there's this book called like The History of LucasArts. They, and a lot of other companies, Bethesda too, put a really tight deadline on these companies. So Obsidian, when it got the license from BioWare for KOTOR to KOTOR 2, I think they had a really shit turnaround, because they had all the game assets. So they like create a game really quickly. That's why a lot of content got cut. Raven Software did the same for Outcast. They come to LucasArts and are like, guess what? We took the Dark Forces franchise from you. We've created a hot game, Jedi Outcast. And LucasArts is like, clap, clap. Don't pat yourself on the back. Get Jedi Academy out too sweet. And so they had to do so really quickly. That's what happens when you're beholden to a publisher. Obsidian did the same with Fallout. When they got New Vegas from Bethesda's like, sweet. So you're going to use most of the Fallout 3 assets, and you've got about 12 months to finish. Okay, you're on the clock, tick-tock. Again, some of this is just guesswork, but there are whispers around the industry, and you can see the turnarounds for these games, and so much of the content that was just physically cut that has been reintroduced by modders. So it's kind of fascinating. Some of the best RPGs were created under a huge amount of pressure. And I think that some of that pressure is actually conducive of good gaming. Weirdly enough, I think that a downward force of a commercial viability is important. Hence why I'm so trepidatious about Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima had Konami on his ass. Konami were probably like, we love your vision. Can you keep the military aspects in this Metal Gear Solid thing? And he's like, well, I want to do crazy shit and have a dude named Hot Coldman. And, like Kojima's mind is brilliant, but you need that through line of a good narrative and gameplay. So when I saw Death Stranding and I knew he was untethered, like you get your own budget, I'm like, oh God, this is like freaking, what's his name? John Lennon from the Beatles meeting Yoko, where he meets his spirit guide and he goes and does some crazy psychedelic shit. Like, I don't have any hype for Death Stranding. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I'm like, just because Hideo Kojima made it doesn't mean it's dope. What if the only thing that kept him on the straight and narrow was Konami or the Metal Gear franchise? Now he's just making some crazy shit. Again, I could be wrong. I haven't played the game, but it looks like a weird walking simulator. So I love the gaming sphere and industry. I find it very, very interesting, the politics. And I think it would be remiss for gamers to just be like, oh, the corporate or the business side of things, even though I have no real business acumen when it comes to that. I prefer to create. But the creative side seems to almost benefit sometimes from pressure of the business side. But most of the time, it sucks nuts, and it either turns into microtransactions, unfinished content, unfinished games, burnt out developers just on deadlines, et cetera, et cetera. So even though this has been a little bit of a rant about these things, I think as I do more work on the RPG aspect, I find all of this stuff really fascinating. The creation, the more that I look at the story aspects of games and gameplay elements, the more I start to fall in love with creation aspects as well. What are your thoughts on WoW Classic, and do you think it would affect dead games from the past like Star Wars Galaxies? You're a dangerous man. You're a dangerous man, Imanoth. WoW Classic was born of arrogance. You saw the way that Blizzard unfortunately clucked their tongues at their fan base with the "you don't really want that" spiel. I've met a lot of developers. I've been on the Blizzard campus a bunch of times. They're great. I've met a lot of EA folks. You wouldn't believe how passionate the EA, the DICE developers are, the EA developers are. Sorry, the EA community management. You would never. If you were in an insulated bubble and you never saw the internet, you would think EA and Blizzard were just amazing companies. The energy is great from the people on the ground. So I think it's the money men. And when it hits that tier of money men, that's when it starts to go murky. And WoW, really, I don't think it was in the works before they kind of made that assertion. And they paid for it dearly. But I think that it opened up a can of worms of, hey, this is still viable for peoples. But the problem that I see with Galaxies is that Galaxies was run by Sony Online Entertainment, which is defunct. I think it's Daylight Studios now, Daybreak. And so then you also have the competing property of SWTOR, run by BioWare/EA. And so you've got a direct competitor of Galaxies that would garner a lot of goodwill, but also isn't of the same franchise. It's not the same franchise or it's not the same universe, not the same developers. So they can't go back to Daybreak or Daylight and be like, can you make this again? And also a competitor. So it's highly unlikely. SWGMU.com has a great emulator that they've been chugging through for Galaxies if you want to play it. It looks like shit. It hasn't aged well with the graphics, but the heart is there, and the player-driven economy is something that drives it, and the love and the passion. But that game is a macro grinding nightmare, and the combat sucks. I will say that. I love the game. I have some great memories, great stories of what I did in the game, some stupid things with friends, but that's what made it great. The players made it great. The game itself, not so much. And funnily enough, they took that heart out of SWTOR. They were like, player market bazaar, theme park, freaking quest line, no player interaction necessary. And they just missed the whole boat. Player housing, which killed me. I would walk for hours through people's houses and towns in Galaxies, just amazed, being like, you do this? What do you sell spice? You sell drugs? I love this game. I love you. Dan Mays, you may have answered this before, but what do you think of this new Disney Star Wars era? Have to look like in order for you to be legitimately excited about Star Wars news is a rule rather than an exception. Dan, I kind of trained myself I didn't train myself. I was kind of over it. Nothing really wowed me. I'm going to be honest. I think I aged out. The expanded universe and the games pre-Disney had me excited. My favorite novels are like Darth Bane, Plagueis, Red Harvest, Death Troopers, shit that children shouldn't read. And, the video games to boot were pretty brutal. So to have that, the comics, the books, all that kind of stuff, the ancillary content, not the real shows or the movies outside of the OT. I like the prequels mainly because Darth Maul has a double-bladed lightsaber. Suddenly I'm using one in Jedi Academy. It was the content that spun off the movies that really wowed me. The book I, Jedi was what taught me about force powers and their grounding science in it and stuff. So all of the expanded universe, quote unquote, content really got me into Star Wars, and that's dead. Disney is catering mostly to children. I'm not a child. Just by default, I've aged out. And I think in a way, Freddie Prinze is right, but only his rant was correct in that that's what they're aiming at now. I don't believe Star Wars always did that. I think they're doing a poor job at catering to their existing audience, kind of pretending that they don't exist until they need something, and then turning around and being like, guess what? Here's a piece of bait. Here's Palpatine for no reason. Here's what you loved from the past. They just pepper in old school EU because that's their last draw card, but they do so. It almost feels begrudgingly, like they don't like their old fan base. They want us to go away, but they need our money sometimes. And I think that's on them. It's unfortunate, but so I don't experience any of Disney Star Wars with much hype outside of The Mandalorian. But again, pre-Disney, Mandalorian culture got changed, and I really didn't appreciate that because expanded universe Mandalorians were so good. Like they got cute with the Mandalorian culture and worlds and politics. Like EU Mandalorians knew what was up. I do have hopes on the Mandalorian, but like I said before, just quick, I don't want it to succeed because I don't want Disney to get money and think that they're doing right and not change. I need to have any excitement for Disney to change fundamentally, not just one show and then go back to their social agenda pushing or any of that stuff. And I'm hesitant to pull that out because it's not a big focus in my life. I don't care about it. I ignore it. But that also makes me ignore Star Wars. I just don't care in my day-to-day. I don't think most people care. I think most people live their lives, are good to each other, and they know that the media pushes this petty, divisive political agenda just to piss people off. And Disney, unfortunately, have inserted themselves into that rhetoric because they thought that they were doing right. A lot of companies do that, and I think they do so mistakenly instead of focusing on the tried and true entertainment and stories and the customer first. Like, people always say to me, oh God, Jedi, Last Jedi is divisive, or any content is divisive. But half of this side is right and half is wrong. And I'm like, no, good content is undeniable. If I get 50% likes and dislikes in a YouTube video, I don't go, well, half is, I'm being revolutionary. I think, shit, I pissed off half my audience. If I was undeniably good in a video, most are going to like it. 90% plus on Rotten Tomatoes for one of the original trilogy isn't by accident. They're a pretty good litmus test, the audience, of what is good. It doesn't matter which side you choose. So I feel like getting into something as petty, like here's great entertainment and storytelling, this is all I care about. This is like social agendas and politics 20. Like, this is so low level, so stupidly divisive. It shouldn't even be on the radar. And I think that, again, when I say clean house, I never want anybody to lose their job or anything. Like, I feel horrible saying that, but I genuinely believe that Disney just needs a total direction change. And if it means some heads will roll so that fresh talent that actually cares about story first, and the community that will never put the community down for whatever the community says. Like, if I dissed you, if I got a shit ton of dislikes on a YouTube video, how arrogant would I be if I turned around and said the audience is dumb or you're XYZ? Like, I would never do that. I respect the audience and be like, I need to change. It's on me. I take responsibility. So, end a rant. I'm pretty dispassionate about it. That's the one thing. I'm such a passionate dude. Like, I love this culture. I love gaming. And so it's hard for me to break away from that. And people say to me, oh, it's just Star Wars and stuff. And I say, tell me how many franchises have become a religion, Tell me, like, where else do you see somebody physically put down Jedi? And not just bullshit. Like, there is something about the Force and about the universe that is very special and that has been quote unquote corrupted or devalued or just brought to a level that it shouldn't be. Dan Mays, Karen Travis did amazing work on the Mando culture back in the day. Then they threw it out. Correct. Yeah, that was really cool. I really liked, I don't know who wrote Legacy of the Force, but I really liked Boba, 60-year-old Boba training Jaina and just really getting glimpses of the warrior culture. I think it's Drew Carpathian, whoever did the KOTOR comics and seeing that. Knights of the Old Republic again, Mandalorians, absolutely love. Francesc Del Arca, my friend from Barcelona. Nice haircut, Dash. Thank you very much. Went to the barber. Prequels were disliked as well. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the prequels. I love the prequels because they were fun. They're not great movies. They're not great Star Wars movies. They don't stand up as Star Wars movies compared to the OT, but they are great for memes. There's a lot of endearment there, but objectively, they're not great. People say all the time in the news, well, now that the sequels come out and they're bashed, people suddenly love the prequels. It's just because it's like if you shove shit on a stick in someone's face and say, hey, here's a bland lollipop, you're going to love the bland lollipop. The prequels did a huge amount of good in the expanded universe. And so I just don't think that's an argument. I know that's silly, but that's just the way that my mind works. There we go. Ostrander wrote Legacy and Dawn of the Jedi. Very good books. I remember I was playing Jedi Academy. I was running clans in like 2010, 11, hyping people up for SWTOR because I'd play Galaxies in the day. And this big stoner named Dylan came into our server and he's like, I don't smoke weed, nothing against it, but the shit sends me to sleep. Apparently it did for him too. He was like, dude, you to listen to Legacy of the Force. I love to get stoned, turn the lights off, and then put on Star Wars audiobooks. And I'm like, well, I don't know about getting stoned, but I drive a bit, so I might get audiobooks. And it was the best thing I ever did. Like Darth Maul Shadow Hunter, Darth Bane, and Legacy of the Force, but also Red Harvest and Death Troopers. Some of the audiobooks are so good. I would prefer them to the movies. You need to see the movies first, but I can hardly articulate it. And so I don't say normal plebs, but punters that are just like, well, I saw a Star Wars movie. I'm like, dude, if I could just convince you to watch an audiobook slash, I was going to say, plug freaking Audible. No, those audiobooks are the best thing ever. If you want to, lose weight or something, or go running, walking, and you're just like, I need content and you don't want to listen to podcasts, listen to that handful of audiobooks and you will have the best time in your life. If you go for an 8-hour drive and you're like, shit, I've got to go 4 hours to pick up the missus from the airport, put on one of those audiobooks. It will be the best thing that you do. Love Dawn of the Jedi comics, felt mythical. It did feel mythical. They went a little bit too out there with me. Whenever they go a little too out there, it's usually when they have machines that run in tandem with the Force. And I'm like, okay, this is just like, I like grounded stories. I like interpersonal stories. I like shit that is just gnarly, even in our universe. It's so grounded. Like Darth Bane, when his dad was screwing with him in that Cortosis mind and he didn't even know how to use the Force and he stopped his heart with the hate like that. I was like, dude got abused by his dad and killed him by thinking about it. That is so rad. That's so metal. I hear like a tasty guitar lick in the background. I'm like, God damn, put me on a Sith Academy. That's what I'm like 24/7. If I see Star Wars, I'm like, where's the Sith at? I just want to learn about that. And that's the one thing that Disney ducked away from, see Jedi Fallen Order. That is a real shame. Jonathan Jackson Miller wrote the KOTOR comics. Yeah, that's right. And I think he did Kenobi. Did he do Kenobi? Oh God, the names start to blend together. I think I gave him a shout out on Twitter one time. I was like, dude, this is so rad. This is so rad. But yeah, so we've got Fallen Order coming up, and I'm looking for video ideas talking about that. You know, I don't know how I'm going to attack it so well, but I'm really looking forward to Fallen Order. Then I don't know if I'm going to do more Outer Worlds, but it definitely cyberpunking super hard, like super hard. And then Diablo 4, I think I'm going to do some lore, the follow-up. If you look on this channel, I actually did Diablo lore back in the day because I used to talk about it as a kid to my brother who hated it. So I was like, shit, Diablo lore is actually really gnarly. I'm suck at the gameplay, but that lore is something that I really love. Diablo, yeah. But anyway, if you guys have any questions, now's the time. I think I'm going to wrap this up in a couple of minutes. It really was just kind of like getting back to my roots, celebrating with the community, talking. I just want to talk to you guys. Like, I know YouTubers are like, oh, you're my family, I love you. But I'm like, I love this. I think that you can't fake how much I like interacting with you guys because it gives me energy. I'm like an energy vampire in this shit. Like I feel like I'm at my best when I'm vibing off your energy and your passion. And so, you know, by any means, always reach out to me and talk to me about this stuff because I really like it. But again, if you've got any questions, now is the time before I do wrap this live stream up. And I do appreciate everything that you do, all of the messages. It really does move me. It keeps me going. I can say that. Like I have days where I'm like, oh my God, you know, you get kicked in the teeth by some comments, or I'm just like, I can't be bothered. Like I was up 2:30 a.m. last night putting the button on that freaking Outer Worlds versus Fallout video because I thought, I don't know if the community is ready for me to put the internet's RPG darling, the Outer Worlds, against Fallout and be like, hey, Obsidian made Fallout New Vegas. They should have learned lessons. Why have they kind of downgraded in some aspects in the Outer Worlds in ways that aren't profound, that will mess with their budget? They're just things that it's like, it's better in New Vegas. So I made that video. I stayed up. I'm not complaining. It was up to 2:30 a.m., but I was like really proud of it. I'm like, I don't know if the community's ready for it. I put it out. People aren't really vibing with it as much as I thought. Like I thought it'll go either way, but you know, it still doesn't stop the fact that I always want to have these conversations. I'm always like, fuck, got to keep going. Got to keep like, I was a little bit like, what am I going to make today? What am I going to talk about? I was thinking about talking about either the history of LucasArts games to get people primed for Fallen Order. Suddenly Diablo 4 drops on me and I'm like, shit, I'm going to talk about Diablo 4. Thank you for the effort and content. No, dude, don't have to thank me. I do it because I'm a bastard. That's one. I see other people's content and I think I want to do it this way. I want to do it my way. So I get I can't even explain it. I get so much satisfaction out of making the content itself. The icing on the cake is when people really enjoy it, or just knowing that, you know, somebody kind of finished their day of work and they get to watch some content, or, you know, I don't want to say you have a friend in me because it'll sound a little too Toy Story, but you know, there's that as well. Gannon136, hey, how you doing, dude? I appreciate it. I'm very, very thankful for the 2,000 subscribers and having a chat with you guys. Francesc, bad comments always hit harder. Don't let them get you down. That's something I'm much better at it. Much better at it. The first comment I ever had on a video where I got on camera, and I'm going to say a bad word. No, the word starts with F and rhymes with bag. And I said, URA rhymes with bag, starts with F. And I kind of got kicked in the teeth and I was like, oh, that's super mean. But then I was like, oh, this is the thick skin that you have to develop to become what you need to become on the internet. Like if your shit is hot, if your shit is undeniable, you're still going to get the love. You're going to get the passion. It's going to resonate with people. Will there be an errant dickhead that is going to be mean? Yeah, but who cares? Like anonymity plus a consequence-free environment is what YouTube comments are. Most of the time, the upvoted ones are hilarious. Every time I see a bad video, I just go scroll to the comments, and I'm thankful. I'm like, that's so satisfying. Like, the amount of talent sometimes in the joke delivery in the comments is better than the content. So I really appreciate it. I don't really care too much, but when you're having a down day, not when somebody calls you like a name or something. It's usually when somebody just says something, especially when it's inaccurate. Like, someone will watch a video and I'll talk about something in the video and then they'll go, "Oh, why didn't you talk about it?" I'm like, you didn't even watch the video. You literally just saw the title, scrolled down, made an asshole comment, felt real good about yourself, went about your day. I'm like, I will end your shit. Like, don't do that. If you know you're putting out the best content ever, your skin does get pretty tough to the petty stuff. God damn, that rhymes. I hope you're a rapper, because I feel like you get pretty tough to the petty stuff, like has a little bit of a snap to it, dude. That's true. When I know I make a hot video, I know, and I don't care most of the time. I only feel insecure when I kind of put myself out there and I try new things. But that's kind of like, even the best comedians go out to clubs and they do they work out, quote unquote work out, places where little dingy dark holes, they work out material, then they bring in the hot stuff. Like, a lot of the series that I do that I know is good is because I've done it so much. I kind of know the rhythm and beat. But every time I feel awkward, it's because it's just new territory. I'm not a rapper, but according to you, I've been good on my floor. Don't listen to Australians. We have the worst accent for rap. I know that's probably going to piss a lot of people off, but just it doesn't have that cool. I don't know. It's just, imagine Steve Irwin rapping. You just don't want to do it. I like our accent in talking, in speech, but rapping, it hits the ear in a funny way. We have some of the best athletes in the world. I'll take that. I think we're little water babies. You put us in water or in a tennis court, we do pretty well. Let's get a petition for Dash to rap. I tried, dude. My brother is a musician. Like, he's a fair, decent producer and stuff. He doesn't do it so much anymore, but I was always proud of how much music affinity that he has. Me, I never really was good at it, but I listened to Cardi B songs, Money, and I thought, I started doing, like, replacing some of the words with Fallout words, and I ended up writing it. I said, screw it. I don't care if I can't rap. I'll just do it sentence by sentence. And I rewrote the song Cardi B Money to Cardi B Caps as a Fallout parody. And I rapped it. I put it on the internet. The music video is probably the best bit because I'm an okay editor. But my family saw it and I was like, I can't rap. And my brother's great at music. My brother can rap, he can write, he can produce, he makes his own beats, he does all that shit. And I still put my own shit up and was like, it's a little cringy, but I tried it out. So yeah, it was fun. No, best rock and roll band, AC/DC. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. I always like to think, like, the front man, I forget the front man's name for AC/DC, but like, how does shit do you write like Thunderstruck? Because, like, a normal person would be like, Tom Jones would be like, what's new, pussycat? Whoa. Okay, that sounds like a good hook. He'll write that down. AC/DC would be like, I was born in the middle of a railroad track. Like, does he sing that? Is that how he sings to himself? Without that screamy backing guitar, gnarly thunder. Like, it goes so well together. In his head, does he have that little high pitch kind of, I don't know, screech / bark? The CJH, hello there. I appreciate you, dude. I apologize for you to coming. Bon Scott, I think it was. There we go. Bon Scott was a legend. I apologize for you coming in, me trying to sing AC/DC as a joke, but it had a point, dude. It had a point. That was a pretty good impression. Okay. That's maybe I've got the wrong calling. Start an AC/DC tribute band. I don't know why bands don't sing like that anymore. Maybe because it's super embarrassing until you get good, right? It's totally nasal. There we go. I don't know. I don't know enough about music. I'm just proud that I put that shit down. So we're at 54 minutes of this beautiful live stream. I think that we've covered the bases. One, I love talking in the community. Two, I love the lore and am excited for the future videos on Fallen Order, The Outer Worlds, Diablo 4. Today, I'm gonna drop that shit in the next 3 hours. That's my goal. I gotta voice it. I've already written it, so I gotta find some hot clips. That animated version of Diablo video, whatever, I think it's called Wrath. That was so good. Like, this is gonna be so gnarly. And that's it. Yeah, Cyberpunk. Oh yeah, back to KOTOR. I'll do more KOTOR and SWOTOR as the channel grows, because I feel like I can get a lot of the community involved. Now, Reddit has been really good to me, which I never ever experienced before. Like, Reddit was actually like good on my KOTOR posts. They're getting hundreds of likes. Usually Reddit shit cans me. I got banned from the Star Wars Reddit account for self-promotion. But KOTOR, oh shit. I don't know if my connection died. If you heard me, okay, the internet's back on. I hate typing close to this keyboard. Like, I got a silent keyboard because of, Let's Plays and whatever, and having this mic right here. But I hate doing that. I hate that noise of people just banging away on the keyboard. ASO is a good friend. Brad actually started the Jedi Academy. We met in Jedi Academy back in 2010. We ran clans together. We ran Star Wars The Old Republic together. We played WoW together. I met him for DreamHack in Austin, Texas, because he's a Texan, in real life. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I made a literal real life friend who doesn't call me enough ASO. No, I'm kidding, Brad. We talk a bit, but just phenomenal. Like, these things, how they lead to it, and the community and their shared passion of it. Like, it's just going to get bigger. So I'm very excited for all of the lore junkies. Was that back in 2010? Yeah, dude, it's nearly 10 years since we met. That's freaking crazy. Have I done a video with Star Wars Theory? No, but Theory's the best dude ever. I keep saying that. When I stopped doing Star Wars, a lot of the Star Wars folks stopped talking to me that I thought were my friends, but I was like, oh, it's not a problem. Like, I know that sounds like I'm bitching, but I'm not. Life happens. A lot more people are acquaintances than you realize till you start to get older. But Theory is the build. Theory was that one bastard that messaged me and he's like, do you need anything? He offered me money, not like a figure. I should have been like, yeah, I need about 30 grand, or I think he paid 100+ grand for his Darth Vader freaking fan film. That's how dedicated he is. He gets nothing back for that. He just truly is passionate. But he offered me money. So to Geekdom 101, those dudes were like, do you need anything? Do you need money? Like, are you okay? Do you need a pat on the back? And I'm like, that's how you know your friend. So Theory, I don't think we've done a video together. I might have got him to voice a video. I know I got Stupendous Wave and a bunch of other creators to voice videos, just as kind of a shout to them. But Theory's that one dude that I keep talking to. We'll DM each other and be like, we need to work on a project together because we're friends. We've spoken about doing gaming videos together because we both love gaming, but I haven't actually done anything set in stone with him. But he's a great dude. Nothing but good things to say. Oh, he name drops me at conventions. Yeah. Sometimes he sends me links to shit, which is nice. Again, he's just a lovely dude that is very passionate. He's also hardworking. He used to be like a power lifter, I think, like he's a real big dude. And I don't think he works out as much anymore. He just makes video. Like, he's just an animal with a chew toy, just tearing at it, but it's pure love. And you don't always experience that behind the curtain, if I may, a little bit. Some YouTubers do it for money. Some do it for passion. He is definitely the passion, dude. Like, he's so purely driven and so laser focused. And I think that you need that to create a freaking fan film. Again, over 100 grand. I can't even imagine that. Like, that's a house somewhere. And he's just like, I'm going to throw that at a fan film. And Disney's going to try and stop me. Disney lets people make fan films all the time and promotes them. And they didn't, he didn't get any of the same shit. So I'm just like, brah freaking vo. And, it's insane. Maybe I could do Fallen Order with Theory. Yeah. I wish it was multiplayer. Shit. Is it multiplayer? No. Don't be silly, Dash. No, it's not multiplayer, no microtransactions. Vince Zampella said that emphatically on stage. Why? So disappointed in Alex from Explain, though. No, I have no feeling about other creators. I think that they follow their own path, and I know how hard YouTube is. So when people do things, I understand it from both sides. You know, I understand the way that pro Disney people go. I don't care. I love YouTubers, even if I don't agree with them, and I love fans, even if I don't agree with them. I only take umbrage with companies because they have the ultimate power. Or say like Ryan Johnson dissing fans, like he inherited the fan base. He doesn't own it. He's not George Lucas. He didn't create it. He has no right to talk down the fans. He's a fucking tourist. Sorry. I get a little heated. Only thing I hate is people taking digs at fans. If YouTubers want to take digs at fans, they can, because they just lose their fan base. Like, go ahead, dude. You're just going to screw yourself. And I think that it would be foolhardy. But so I love fan. I don't care if you love or hate Star Wars or any gaming or piece of content. I always love the fans, and I always love other fellow creators. It's just companies that I get real, like I go off my tits when I see them put fans down. Have you done the Spider-Man PS4 gameplay yet? Hands down the best Spider-Man game ever. No, I love Spider-Man, especially Venom. The first one on PS1 was great. Spider-Man 2, untouchable. Then you got like Ultimate with the cell shading kind of style graphics, like all of that free roaming Spider-Man, even Web of Shadows, like all of that was really good. I just left my PS4 in America and have it Xbox now. So the exclusives I miss. Not that I'm going to miss Death Stranding, because again, I think it's too crazy. I think Hideo has gone way too out of the box. Yeah, I'm a Venom guy. Like I am a 100% Eddie Brock Venom guy. 90s aesthetic suit. Probably I think it's mid 90s. Like it started off weird. Mid 90s was good. Then it kind of became too stylistic. You know how it is. They create a lot of different suits. Mac Gargan did nothing for me as Venom. Like just Eddie Brock standard. Bigger than Spider-Man, faster, a little bit dumber, but angrier. I love that. I left stuff in America. Yes, I did. It's a long story, but some of my possessions got left at an old acquaintance's house. I won't go into it. It's just silly, but it's my own fault. Everything in life I take is my own fault, no matter what, even if it's not. I think taking responsibility and just being like, I shouldn't have left them in X place or in somebody's care. Shit happens. Speaking of America, when are you going to head back here? Dude, I hope as soon as possible. You know, I love the States. It's my home away from home. I feel at home there. I loved living in Alabama. I love living in California. I would live in Austin in a heartbeat, dude. You know, I love Texas. Yeah, I love America. Don't have any plans to go there. I was meant to go to Canada this month, weirdly, but I'm not anymore. So no plans. We are plan three. Sorry. How do you feel about Minecraft? Love it. One of the best games on the Switch, especially. Now that, you know, traveling or doing things, you just want to build a nice little mushroom hut. That is my dream. Get some bone meal, whack it on a mushroom, have a mushroom hut, dig down. I never do anything in Minecraft of use. I never, like ASO can attest to this. And he would build like freaking farms and all this kind of complex machinery. And I was in my mushroom hut. Like I'm just a sad dude who needs to learn some type of low-level engineering. Like, you know, I'm always in awe of people who make those big note blocks or death clocks or working freaking anything with redstone. I am like a caveman. What's your take on Filoni and Favreau using legend stuff in Mando? I don't think it has any bearing. I think if they just pick and choose legends, great. Disney should have been doing it from the start. Disney should have made 7/8 of their content legends and just tweaked it. And that's it. Just the best stories. I think same with gaming. There were so many bad or not good, I would say, not good Star Wars games by default, by the fact that if you make 300 games, 6 are going to be hot. You're going to get your KOTORs, your Battlefronts, your Jedi Knights, your Rogue Squadrons. So just make more shit. Disney's done the opposite. They've made less, but they've also taken less of the best. And so I don't know if it's arrogant. I don't know if they think their story writers are just like, no, we've got a better idea. But I personally would just steal the best ideas. You already own them. They already exist. They're already in the Star Wars universe and beloved. Like I've said this a million times. Star Wars is just That's why I'm so apathetic towards it, because it's like I don't want to give it energy, because it's just negative energy. And unless I create something, and again, I've spoken about it, I've thought about going theories route and actually raising funds and making some content based around legends, just to prove a point, just to be like it exists for the wider masses. Because I love the audiobook so much, man. If what would you prefer, a revamped Revan or a new character? I've thought about this a lot. I would like Revan's mask to carry his power. In the book, when he is detained by the Sith and he doesn't have his mask, he's kind of half powered. Then he gets the mask and it full powers him. I kind of want the mask to be like the mask Jim Carrey style, except it holds the power of Darth Revan and it's attracted to dark side people, like a Sith artifact as it is. But through the ages, for it to find its way to different humans on their quest of revenge, and then it kind of leaves them when they're done, or it betrays them or whatever. Like, I love the concept of a mask. What does V for Vendetta say? Give a man a mask and you shall see his true face. And one that is intrinsically embedded with revenge. And, that moment where Revan says he won't take the mask off till he avenges the people killed by the Mandalorians was a very moving moment. And I think that they could redo it over and over with different characters. But that's just my take. Some people would be like, you're bastardizing Revan, and I get it. So that's why I'm not a part of the story group. But I would like to see the original Revan done, and then for that mask moment to again echo through and through. Brie Larson will pay. I'm not even going to answer that, dude. It just makes me just dead inside. Just dead inside. I just see a picture of her hugging Kevin Feige like best mates, and I'm just like, no. Keep Feige away from Star Wars. Do you think the rise and more 4K and UHD content that fans demand that Star Wars game development process has been hindered, or is lack of willing to take risks? 100%, Gannon. I was going to write that in my freaking LucasArts video. I spoke to the devs at DICE one night over a dinner, I believe, a couple of years ago. And they were talking about the amount of effort it takes to create a new character model. It's why they can't just make Dooku, Anakin, Kenobi and the Clone Wars just pop out of their ass, because Frostbite is so gorgeous, but game development went from 20-man team to 200+ man. And so by definition, 4K Frostbite comes with a cost, and the more cost associated, the less risk a company is willing to make. And so it's this terrible trade-off. I'd rather, a Baldur's Gate style or KOTOR style video RPG of KOTOR 3 than if they said we have to make it hot in Frostbite to work. And you see like the Visceral game implode, the Star Wars Sandbox game, and all of these other properties where the pressure is so high to perform. Funnily enough, that's what killed Star Wars way before Battlefront 2. The original Battlefront 2, they actually did that. What happened was there was a new president in LucasArts, and he said, we're not going to make you Jedi Knights, Rogue Squadrons, KOTORs, though they did put out 2 after he came on board. They were like, we need to centralize Star Wars games. And so they put out Battlefront 2. They wanted to compete with the hottest games, which was Battlefield, I believe, and Call of Duty at the time. So you have these big money men who just see dollars, who just don't want to take risks. And that's why we've seen literally like dozens of Star Wars games. There was 40 Star Wars games in development when LucasArts handed over the company or reins, just trickled down into what SWTOR since EA took over. So the Old Republic, Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, and now Fallen Order in the span of 10 years with their license. Like that is freaking insane, except for mobile games. And even Uprising, it was a decent mobile game. It got nixed. Like everything is so profit driven. It's hard for creativity to shine through. And I think that's the inverse of Hideo Kojima gets too much money and no creative control. Shit gets crazy. It's kind of a flip of the coin. It's very risky. Whereas big companies, they just want to control an uncontrollable medium. Things move so fast. Games take 2 to 5 years to develop, and by that time you can be outpaced. So it's a very funny industry, and I don't see any benefit in 4K. Like, give a shit. The flunkies that care about 4K games over a good gameplay and story are just, like, I get that you cater to casuals, but even they can't discern graphics that good. 1313 would have been a monster. There was Darth Vader game, Jedi Knight 3, KOTOR 3, Force Unleashed 3, Darth Maul game that didn't get made. There is so many games that we don't see. I feel like fucking communist Russia. Death Stranding is a pretty risky game, so I applaud it for doing its own thing. I applaud it for doing so as well. Like I said, I love artists. I love creativity. That little bit of reeling in sometimes helps. Plus Japanese games by default. You ever notice like Final Fantasy VII starts as eco-terrorists shut down evil power source in town, Midgar. I'll probably cover Final Fantasy VII Remake, by the way. And then by the end of the game, it's like, okay, so we've got this dude who's part of an asteroid crashed alien woman thing called Genova, and he's going to try and take over the world and kill all life. And he's just like, how did you get from A to Z here? Like, how do you physically Metal Gear Solid? We got to go in and save the president or stop these terrorists. And then by the end, you're like genes and memes and clones, bad brother. You have to fight your bad brother clone for the approval of your supposedly dead dad, big boss. You're just like, how do we get from here to here? Death Stranding was like, screw that. We're going to start off weird as shit. And then you have to, maybe it'll go normal by the end. Maybe it'll go opposite. Maybe it'll do all that weird, like dead man walking and stuff. And then in the end, it's just going to be like walking from one place to Bridget to another to connect up the United States. I get the premise, but that dead baby shit, I'm just like, dead babies. I'm actually starting Uprising right now because it's still canon and there are plenty of Let's Play videos I can utilize. Fans are in it for the story and good studio to gaming communication. Oh, good to know. Good to know. Yeah, I'd be devastated if I made a game because, a piece of content, a video, even if it takes me 10 days, it's 10 days of your life. You put a couple of years into a baby and then arbitrarily it gets shut down. I think that's why so many movies, you never see the light of day once they get nixed by studio. Have you noticed? Actually, people give me shit because they say studio instead of studio. You ever notice like video games that they just do like a quiet fuck you to whoever shut them down? Like somehow, we don't know how, but Battlefront 3 leaked on the internet by the original developers. Like clearly gaming's still got a little bit of Wild West left in, which is pretty fun. I want an open world Star Wars game set on different planets, like galaxies. Yeah. Look, if you mix Galaxies, Jedi Academy, and KOTOR story together, you get the perfect game. Star Wars used to quote unquote skin games, like Dark Forces was just a reskinning of Doom with a little bit of innovation. And that's how you should innovate, copy and then copy plus, and you go from A to Z. Like sooner or later, you're going to get a whole new thing, mixing formulas together. Jedi Fallen Order looks like it is copying Sekiro, I think it's called, and Dark Souls. Star Wars skin. That's all you need to do. Star Wars makes everything better. I can name 3 games top of my head. Fallout as a smuggler, just add a Star Wars skin. Perfect. You land on a shit planet and it's been affected by some nuclear outreach or blast or something, and you're a smuggler for freaking spice. Don't sugarcoat it. Spice, actual drugs in Star Wars. Grand Theft Auto, Star Wars. Coruscant, like 1313. PlanetSide 2, open world shooter. Just put a Star Wars skin on it. Call it Republic Commando 2. I don't give a shit. Like, super easy to do. It's really dumb that they don't. Again, it's just like Disney not reconstituting the best EU stories. I can go on for days about it. It just makes 0 sense. Fallen Order seems to be half of that, hub worlds rather than open worlds like KOTOR. Yeah, it's going to be very linear. It's Metroidvania, so it's going to be one path, but I think you can track back, and they'll have like secret doors that you can open with force powers that you collect later. So it always has that intrigue and backtracking element like Metroid and Castlevania do. Only problem with reskins are fans are super duper smart and can spot it. It would be super easy, but it would have some bad press behind it. Yeah, give a shit. If the formula works and you innovate just enough, that's, if you watch the video on Quentin Tarantino steals, You will see scene for scene him cherry picking the best of other people's work. He openly says it. The word is called pastiche in French. And it's kind of like a patchwork of the best of different things. That's how you create something original. No work is original these days. Nothing is. Everything is borrowed and like good stuff is stolen. So Star Wars seems to try and create its own shit out of midair, and it's a mistake. It already exists. I think you mentioned this on Twitter, but you saw the re-release of JK Outcast for Switch. Do you think this will be heralded by a release or a successor? We're just hopeful. You're just hopeful. I'm sorry. I just truly believe that unless it has Cassian Andor TV series puts him as a Force sensitive, then I don't see it happening. They really did turn Kyle Katarn into Cassian Andor, Jan Ors into Jyn Erso. They just character switched them. They've already gutted Dark Forces. Again, that's why it's a beloved show, but they killed Kyle Katarn in the process. I don't have any feelings towards Cassian Andor. He said that he lived a murky life, and maybe he will, but he just, I don't know. He didn't have the chops yet. Maybe with time, they could do something with him. But again, I think that they should just reboot. The fact you can put anything Star Wars shows the depth of its universe and sandbox, FPS, RTS, MMO, but it isn't utilized 100%. Are you interested in playing Halo Master Chief Collection next fall on PC? There is tons of lore for you to dive into if you dig that type of shooter. I really like Halo. I find it more cathartic to play. Like, I just turn my brain off when I play Halo. I don't really dive into the lore of Master Chief and the worlds and what. Like, it was just a tight shooter. That's what it was, and some pretty damn fun multiplayer and co-op for me. I hope they don't ruin Kenobi. Again, I'm just going to keep saying it like a broken record. I want Kenobi to succeed, but at the same time, I don't want it to. I want Disney to learn its lesson and reboot throughout its hierarchy, and then I'll be happy, and for them to treat the fans well. If they redid the Kenobi novel, that was a freaking awesome Western. They should just remake the novel. It's just, I keep saying it. Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, the digital novel, graphic novel by Frank Miller that they turned into a cartoon, one of the best Batman picks ever, probably my favorite. And it was pain for pain and reshoot. How easy is that? You took a piece of the greatest property that you have and you turned it piece by piece into an animated movie. Just do the same. Just get the novel, turn it into a hot screenplay, and then bada bing, bada boom. Like, it's not that difficult, but time will tell. Do you think Dash Rendar being back in canon in a brief book quote could mean his return? I don't mind him showing up in Mando or Cassian. They're saying that Billy Burr or Billy Rednuts is going to be playing a Sean Dash Rendar. That was somebody's assertion on Twitter, or guess, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how he would go. 2019 Rendar, I'm not as hyped because I just feel like they'd screw him up. Unless they did a true to form Rendar, it'd be hard. Probably want to reel his armor in just a little bit, those weird bike tire shoulder pad thing, just a little bit, but it'd be fun if they could pull it off. It's hard to want Disney to fail in terms of Kenobi only because they've got Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor's great. He's fun. Ewan McGregor proves that it takes not even the right script, because I don't think it was well written in Attack of the Clones. The right actor. People always go, ooh, Solo was treated unfairly, but I don't think Alden Ehrenreich or whatever was right for the part. Even if he had a bad script and it was a Kenobi movie, Ewan would still be beloved. Even throughout the prequels, when Hayden Christensen got hate, Ewan was beloved. There's a common thread. If you're good and you're undeniable, and he looks like freaking Alec Guinness, it's going to work. Ewan McGregor made the Obi-Wan protagonist of the prequels. Yeah, he was really good. Bill Burr is a dude with a shoulder gun. I've seen some people speculate it's Dash. I'll be really shocked. I'd be shocked too. That's a really big departure from Dash Rendar, unless he's some type of 90s fanboy that we don't know of Shadows, and he just kind of requested it, and Disney was like, okay. I don't see that happening. But that would make me laugh my ass off that I call Dash and suddenly Billy Burr is playing Dash. Being associated with him is hilarious. No, I don't think so. People are people speculate really dumb shit. I mean, it's not too dumb. It's not too insane, but people, I do it myself. One of my dumbest ideas that I had that I really liked because I had it, was that Leia was going to be Snoke. And here's how. I wanted Leia to be corrupted by the dark side subtly. Again, I know this is insane, that she got blown up or like fragged by somebody, and that she was running Kylo Ren, her son. She was playing him as Snoke, like as a hologram. She was projecting more, and you know, so she was pretending to be Snoke to her son, and she was running his shit. And then she played off as the little old woman who couldn't hurt anybody on the other side. In hindsight, that's as dumb as me saying Tarkin Snoke or blow. I never said Mace Windu. People said that, and I was like, oh, imagine, you know, like with how culturally sensitive they are, when they wouldn't make freaking Rex in Return of the Jedi because some dude that they put him as Sant, Nicholas Sant or whatever his name is, Nick Sant, because his skin color was too light compared to Rex, even though Rex was a clone of Boba Fett, who originally was a white guy. Like, just all that dumb shit back and forth. I was like, there are no universe in which Disney is going to turn Samuel L. Jackson's character into a white guy. Like, there's no universe. But that was a big video by some dude. I think it's Vincent Vendetta. Yeah, that's his name. Here's the money. Oh, I got paid $2. I finally made money from that whack theory. That's a bad theory. It could work, but again, it's so bad. It would take the most amount of skill any human being has to make that work. But I feel like, I don't know. I just like the thought of Kylo being a little bitch to his mom. And that's the secret, is that she's playing all sides. She's playing Luke or whatever, but she's like jacked up. She's just a gnarly version of herself, but she's trying to keep up appearances. And that Luke left the known universe because Leia went bad and he couldn't kill her. Like, that was my hope. Again, it's silly, but that's what I like, theorizing more than films. I like trying to find the clues in the writing in the water. I figured out a lot of the time that movies aren't that smart. They're not. Some of good movies have Easter eggs for days. Quentin Tarantino writes whole lifetime backstories to his characters that are there for 2 seconds, and you can feel it. You don't know, you can't articulate it, but you feel that level of effort. A lot of movies just kind of smush shit together, and it happenstance that it works. So I don't know, but it's still fun to theorize. Rex is being whitewashed. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's so stupid. Like, if you got that little time on your hands, that's your existence, I feel sorry for you, in a lot of ways. Like, I don't know. I always said in my mind, like, if Maoris, because Tamura Morrison is a Maori and I love New Zealand, if Maoris had a problem with it, I'd go, I'll listen to this. But anybody else, a lot of the people that were bitching were of Caucasian persuasion and also with too much time in their hands. And I was just like, I'm not listening to you, dude. You want to make problems because you got nothing better to do, and it's sad. Like, that's not real. Theories are still better than what we got. Thank you, dude. Congrats on the 2K. I really appreciate it. I'm far left and even I disagree. I won't get into politics. I am cool with whatever persuasion people are. I'm really happy for them. Again, I think the vision is just cooked up by the media, so it's not a big deal. It's just dumb shit that happens. Thank you, Force Walker Entertainment. I appreciate it. I'm starting to get hope back in my Leia is Snoke theory, which I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this, as I'm starting to lose my voice, which is funny because I've already got like my voice is something that, like, some people like it. Some people will say, like, you sound sick. And the more I talk, the more kind of husky it gets, like throaty. So I'm realized I'm starting to run out of juice here. So I apologize. I just get so impassioned, I guess, by doing this that I start to go a little ham. So at least it's real, but appreciate you all. I'm looking forward to the content. I'm just going to run through it one more time. Expect to see maybe some more Outer Worlds. Jedi Fallen Order definitely coming on this channel, and the Let's Play on Grandmaster is coming on Real Dash when it drops November 15th for you Yanks. Rest of the world, it's 16th for us. I'm also covering Cyberpunk and, of course, more KOTOR as we go. Anything RPG that's hot, Baldur's Gate, Final Fantasy VII Remake, maybe, if it has a lot of choices. But I really appreciate you. And I had something else. I should do these more. Yeah, I enjoy them. Like, I really enjoy them. I have so much fun doing these. Diablo 4. I'm making that Lilith video, and it's going to be great. If you hear my voice just like this, I'm like, Lilith was a demon in Diablo. It's because I've run out of juice, you bastards. But I'm happy about it. So, yeah, I want to just say thanks one more time. I'm going to end the stream. I don't know how this works because I did it in browser. YouTube allows you to make streams inside your browser now, which is insane. But yeah, thanks for the love, Emineth, ASO, JG, Gannon, Francesca, Dan, CJH, and Daniel, as well as Force Walker. I appreciate you guys, and I shall see you in about 3 hours, hopefully, when the video drops. Otherwise, something horrible has happened. Get help.